Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
We are still seeing some scattered light rain. I'll show you when it finally pulls out of our area.
And covering Wake County, Dixie Trail remains closed between Dixie Trail remains closed on Wade Avenue between Dixie Trail and Faircloth. I'll tell you how to get around that mess and how to get around some of the other messy morning commutes.
Plus, we are still feeling the impacts of the storm system as trees down in the triangle are knocking out power for hundreds. Meanwhile, people on the coast cleaning up after some areas got more than 18 inches of rain.
Plus, because students wound up sick after a bomb threat evacuation, well, Wake County school leaders are considering what could have been done differently, how they're using this experience to improve their response to school threats. Your time is 8 o'clock this morning. Wake on up. You might be late to work. Better start going. Actually, some people may be waking up with some delayed school. Some people are talking about this morning. Thanks for joining us here on WRAL News and Fox 50. I'm Chris Lovingood.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. Yeah, I mean, it's just another pretty miserable start out there. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner tracking where the rain is now. Not quite as rainy as yesterday, but we're still seeing it out there.
And the impacts are definitely with us still. Dual up for 5,000. Showing some rain coming off the coast again, up through Wayne County, Johnston County, and then north and west. Things have dried out a little bit in our northeastern counties, but we're not finished with the rain just yet, even though it is starting to taper off, which is good to see. Some rain falling pretty heavily in Durham right now and in North Raleigh, but from Apex to Holly Springs back toward Pittsboro, it's tapered off a little bit. We head up to the north, and again from Henderson, kind of up that I-85 corridor, things have tapered off, but we're not done with it. We take a live look at North Hills, and boy, this looks a lot worse than what we're seeing there on the radar. We got some fairly heavy drizzle to light rain coming down, making for some wet and pretty miserable conditions. We did end up seeing a decent amount of rain. We've seen as much as 2¼ inches in Raleigh, almost 4 inches in Fayetteville, about 3 in Clinton. There were some pockets of 5-inch rainfall totals. And here's what we're looking at in terms of futurecast. We're going to continue to see this lifting northward as we get through the afternoon. A few breaks in the clouds late this afternoon in some of our southern counties, but you can count on still seeing some rain up near the Virginia line, really north of Durham as we get through the afternoon. So that's why we still have a 30% chance of rain heading into the afternoon. Our temperatures this afternoon will be in the upper 70s, but we do still have some more rain in our forecast for the next few days. I'll show you why that is coming up, Ken.
At 8:02, Elizabeth, even though the rain is easing up just a little bit, we still have a real messy morning commute on our hands. We have the WRAL storm tracker out this morning. WRAL's Laura Levine is in that storm tracker this morning. And Laura, you're on Wade Avenue between Dixie Trail and Faircloth that's closed right now.
Ken, good morning. Yes, we actually hopped out of the storm tracker here at Wade Avenue, where neighbors tell me that they're dealing with a massive problem. We're talking about a big tree that came tumbling down here overnight. Neighbors tell me that they've been without power since 4 a.m. And you can see why we were actually asked by utility crews just to take a step back, because they're preparing to cut this tree in half that's already kind of toppled over the power lines here. And it's possible that some more lines here can come down. So we're stepped back a little bit for safety reasons, but you can just see what they're dealing with. We are looking at dozens of utility crews out here, linemen really working to not only cut this tree into little pieces so that they're able to remove it from the scene, but they're also dealing with some of the power lines and power poles. We're looking at a power pole that actually split in half. So I was able to speak with a neighbor here who tells me that Duke Energy has informed residents that they should have their power back on by 4 o'clock this afternoon. But a lot of people who do have work, who have kids that they're trying to take to school this morning, kind of a sticky situation. One guy told me that he called his job to let him know that he might not be making it in. He might have to work from home, as you can see why. So we'll keep you updated on when the power is restored and some of the restoration efforts here. But again, Wade Avenue, especially here at Dogwood and Wade, will be closed for several hours.
All right, Laura, we appreciate that. And this is what it looks like on our sensor this morning. You can see the closure right there. I would use Hillsborough Street as an alternate route to get around Wade Avenue this morning. The other situation we're monitoring is down there in Apex. That crash is causing quite the backup, as you can see from our live traffic sensors this morning. Here again, you should use State Road 540 as an alternate route to get around this mess that you're seeing on US 1, because look at the delay times. Right now, you're only looking at 15 minutes. At one point, that was more than an hour coming in from all points south. The other trouble spot this morning is 18 minutes coming in there for our friends on Wake Forest. elsewhere around the capital city this morning, we're seeing the usual congestion on the northern loop of the Beltline as well as the southern loop of the Beltline. To that end, let's take you out and give you a live look at I-440 and Wake Forest Road. The westbound lanes are coming toward us. You can see that traffic is definitely building this time of the morning.
Certainly is. Thank you, Ken. Fallen trees are being cleared up this morning in the Triangle, and that includes this one. Teams worked overnight to clear from a street in Raleigh. Close things down over there. Video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker shows the work happening just before 2 o'clock this morning on Whitman Road. If you're familiar, that's near Ridge Road and Glen Eden Drive. Duke Energy's power outage map showed about 50 homes in that area without power at one point, but power has since been restored. And there are some school delays we have to tell you about this morning. Moore, Lee, Harnett, Hoke, Cumberland, Sampson, and Wayne County schools all opening 2 hours late today as a precaution from the weather.
And Jeff, welcome to the WRAL Live Center. I want to take you right back out to the Duke Energy power outage map right here, exactly where Laura Levine just was, right off of I-440, the Beltline, Wade Avenue right here. That is the very neighborhood there with 27 outages being reported right now. That is right where Laura Levine was reporting with that outage. So I'm going to take you to a wider look of this and maybe push you into Zebulon. There's a few hundred in Zebulon right near the Hopkins Trace neighborhood there. I'm going to take you back out. Look at Raleigh. I mean, Raleigh's looking pretty good when you think about it. There's this 27 right off the Beltline there, customers that are out, and a few hundred around the area. But big difference in Garner in just the last half hour. We were reporting several thousand outages in Garner. Not the case right now anymore. And the rest of the Triangle, as we take a look around out towards Pittsboro, just north of Pittsboro, there's a big neighborhood. 788 customers are out. That is just north of Bynum there, right along the Haw River, just east of 87 there. By and large, some great progress is happening right now because of some of the daylight obviously helps, and also the fact that water has receded in some areas, allowing them to get back in places.
Yeah, some good news. All right, thanks, Jeff. Well, it's going to be a quieter day today along the North Carolina coast after some areas saw more than 18 inches of rain. WRAL's Brett Neese joins us live from Carolina Beach. Brett, this historic weather event has left behind flooded roads and homes. It's pretty major.
Exactly, Michelle. And we've got the sun shining now, pretty bright, but this is Havana's restaurant here on Lake Park Boulevard, and you can see all the damage done because of this 18 inches of rain. Look at all the patio furniture and all this tables, the chairs that are overturned because of this flooding. This water rushed over the top of Lake Park Boulevard here. It's actually still closed right now to traffic, even though we've seen a number of cars go through here. One of these businesses, a couple of these businesses are open now as they start to assess the damage, but then take a look at what amount of water is still here on Lake Park Boulevard. I mean, down here in Carolina Beach, the amount of rain that they saw, some people saying that it is more rain than previous hurricane events that they've seen. And take a look at this. The drain's working on overdrive right now, trying to get this water off the roadway as quickly as possible. You know, this flooding caused a lot of issues yesterday with schools letting out early, including Carolina Beach Elementary, where kids had to actually be driven home by emergency officials with a car that could handle this high flood water. And we also talked to some people that live in this area about what it was like to go through this.
We didn't take nearly as much water from Florence as we did from this. This came real fast. I mean, it came hard and it came fast.
And so you're looking back down Lake Park Boulevard right now as it continues to be closed, and you can see some of the other business owners down there starting to assess the damage. The Pelican restaurant right down there, we talked to the owner there. He said that he's already put a mark on his restaurant on how high this floodwater is. He said it is the second highest mark in his restaurant now at this point, and this is for a historic event and once in a generation type rainfall and not even a named storm. So these residents here in Carolina Beach starting to clean up now here after this water starts to recede and goes back to normal here the rest of the day. Live in Carolina Beach, Brett Neese, WRAL News.
And you can always find live weather updates on the free WRAL News app. It allows you to watch radar in real time to see when storms are in your area. Be sure you have the WRAL News app installed with alerts turned on.
Your time is 8:09 this morning. Covering Wade County, school leaders today will review the response to school threats after an evacuation on a hot day in August led to kids getting sick. The response in question happened at Heritage High School. This was on August 29th. Officials evacuated the school in Wake Forest at 10:30 in the morning because of that bomb threat, and many students stood unprotected from the sun for about 90 minutes. Again, it was hot outside. 3 kids needed to go to the hospital because of heat-related issues, and 20 to 30 others were treated right there at the school. The school board will talk about the timeline of what happened and discuss ways to improve.
Today, Raleigh City Council members will vote on a plan to move Red Hat Amphitheater. The plan is to move the downtown amphitheater 1 block south to make room for an expansion of the Raleigh Convention Center. Over the last few weeks, the city has hosted open houses for people who live in that area. Some people are worried permanently closing South Street between McDowell and Dawson will hurt affordable housing and choke off accessibility to downtown. Others say the amphitheater is a huge economic generator for downtown, and if it means closing down South Street, it's worth it. And coming up, we're getting a first look at the wreckage from that submarine that imploded last year. What else a hearing into the submersible is revealing about the disaster.
And as Boeing workers strike in the Pacific Northwest, negotiations are set to continue today. How much this walkout could cost the company while a deal is still not in place.
And we still have rain out there, especially right around Wake County and Durham counties. We're seeing a scattered rain that is affecting the commute this morning. I'll show you what it looks like as you're headed out the door.
Welcome back. Time now 8:14 on your Tuesday morning. Another rainy start. Pretty miserable out there. Meteorologist Elizabeth Garner tracking where all that rain is. A lot of it's still on our coast, Elizabeth.
It really is way out there in the Northeast in particular. Fortunately, actually down around Carolina Beach and Riceville Beach where it was so heavy yesterday, they're seeing some sunshine there right now, which is nice. But we are seeing some showers coming out of Wayne County all the way up through the Triangle and northwest up toward Virginia. You can see how that continues to just develop in the same place. None of this is very heavy. If you remember, like last Friday, we had a boundary like that set up and it just rained and rained and rained. But this is on the lighter side. We'll zoom in here, of course, and then head up to the north and you can see just north of the Triangle, it's really started to taper off a bit. But what's going to happen is this band of rain will continue to lift northward and dissipate as we get through lunchtime. Most of it should move on up by 5 o'clock on up toward the Virginia line. And by the late afternoon and evening, we should see a little bit of sunshine breaking through, which will be nice to see. Again, already starting to see some of that along the coast. But here's what you'll see as we get through the day. There is some scattered light rain around the Triangle area this morning. A lot of water on the roads still. A few scattered storms and rain north of Wake County by lunchtime. And then by the evening, most of the rain and storms will be near the Virginia line. We may even see a little bit of sunshine breaking out. We did see a lot of rain, as much as 2¼ inches officially in Raleigh, about 5 inches across parts of eastern Harnett County, almost 4 inches in Fayetteville, about 3 inches in Clinton. So it was a significant amount of rain for sure. You can see the folks in downtown Raleigh walking to work with their umbrellas this morning as they're headed down Fayetteville Street. This is a look from our Jimmy V cam, and it's definitely wet out there. Now, we're not going to be done with this anytime soon. The low pressure system that brought us all the rain yesterday will linger in our area through Friday. So that's going to give us a chance of afternoon and evening thunderstorms again tomorrow and Thursday. And some of that rain could be heavy at times. Here's a look at that on Futurecast. Right now, the center of that storm is down into South Carolina, and gradually it pushes eastward. Once we get to the weekend, we get into a northwesterly flow. We're going to see nice dry conditions. Should be a nice one. 50% chance for the rest of the day today, and then 40 on Wednesday and Thursday. And then after that for the weekend, the first official weekend of fall, it looks a lot nicer. This afternoon, we could see another 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch in the north. And then over the next few days, we could still see another 1/4 to 1/2 inch, depending on where those storms set up. Does it feel like we've had a lot of rain this year? So far, we're on track to be the 3rd wettest at RDU with almost 43 inches of rain. That was since 1949. So, yep, it's been messy. The first day of fall is Sunday. Breezy, cool, 76 degrees, nice drop in humidity. So we have that to look forward to, which will be nice. And it does look like that may continue into next week. And coming up, we're going to talk a little bit more about why we saw so much heavy rain on the coast out of the system, Ken.
All right, Elizabeth, at 8:17, we continue to follow some breaking news in Raleigh this morning. Wade Avenue remains closed between Dixie Trail and Faircloth Street. There's a tree down, power outages in that area. You might want to use Hillsborough Street as an alternate route to get around that closure that we're seeing there on Wade Avenue. The other troubled spot this morning is in Apex. As a result of this crash there on US 1 North, you can see the major slowdown it's causing in that area. As we continue to look at that, you might want to use Business 64 or even State Road 540, because it's State Road in that area, as an alternate route. Elsewhere around the triangle, we're seeing the huge congestion building on the north and south loops of the Beltline. Many of you use I-540 as an alternate route. You're looking at some delays this morning coming into the capital city. And here's what we're talking about. You're looking at more than a 20-minute delay coming in from US 1 there in the Apex area. 14 minutes for friends of Wake Forest coming in on Capitol Boulevard and Wake Forest. And of course, you got I-87. You got an 8-minute delay. The storm trackers out there, we'll have a live shot from them at the bottom of the hour with that road closure there on Wade Avenue as well. Hey, let's go ahead and take you outside, give you a live look at I-440 and Wake Forest Road. The westbound lanes are coming toward us, so you can see the congestion that's happening right there on the Beltline.
Thank you, Ken. We're getting a look at the first image of the wreckage from that Titan submersible that imploded last June. It was one of the pieces of evidence viewed during the hearing centered around that implosion. It killed all 5 people on board when it happened. The first witness to testify yesterday was the company's engineer, I should say, the director for the company, OceanGate. Tony Neeson says that he was skeptical of the sub's safety, testifying that he wouldn't let a crew take the Titan down to the Titanic wreckage back in 2019. He described a tense relationship with OceanGate co-founder Stockton Rush, who died during the expedition.
He would fight for what he wanted, and he wouldn't give an inch much at all.
We also learned the submarine sent its final message just 6 seconds before it lost contact with the surface. That's according to a U.S. Coast Guard investigation of the implosion. The hearing is expected to last 2 weeks, with other top OceanGate employees set to testify.
Boeing contract negotiations resumed today for the first time since that strike began last Friday. A union representative says a federal mediator is holding those discussions today. Amy Kiley has more on the financial pressure to make a deal.
With about 33,000 Boeing workers on strike.
I want to be able to get a home for and live the American dream.
Contract negotiations appear to be resuming. A federal mediator is facilitating talks today, according to a union representative.
A lot of us have to work weekends, overtime, and there's no balance.
Boeing's main aircraft production is virtually shut down due to the strike. Analysts say the walkout could cost the company more than $1 billion if it lasts for months.
Having a fight with their union and going out on strike doesn't help your quality, doesn't help your public perception, doesn't help their stock price either.
In a memo to employees, Boeing CFO acknowledges the financial strain and announces cost-saving measures. They include a hiring freeze, travel reductions, consideration of furloughs, charitable donation cuts, and more.
They really do need to get this solved quickly, but the solution's also expensive. The solution's to pay more money.
Many striking workers say they want better pay and benefits.
We're just looking forward to bring back some kind of consideration from our CEOs. We're very proud of what we do, and we hold what we do in high regards, and we would like Boeing to recognize that now.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
One person died because 2 planes collided mid-air in Nevada. The FAA says 2 single-engine planes collided yesterday morning near an airport in Minden, Nevada. One plane crashed, killing the pilot. They were the only person aboard. The other plane was able to safely land at the airport. Neither person aboard that plane was injured, but federal investigators are now looking into what went wrong here.
A federal appeals court heard arguments in a case that could decide the future of TikTok here in the U.S. The popular sharing app's Chinese parent company, ByteDance, is suing to block a law that would ban the app. Their lawyers say the government has not demonstrated that TikTok poses national security risks, and a ban would violate the First Amendment. Congress passed the measure with overwhelming support, and President Biden signed it into law back in April. The court is expected to rule sometime before December 6th.
Today marks exactly 7 weeks from Election Day on November 5th. It's also National Voter Registration Day. You can actually register to vote on the state DMV website. You can also submit a form in person at your county board of elections. Now, if you're not sure if you're registered, you can visit the NC State Board of Elections website and then use the voter search tool. The voter registration deadline for North Carolina is 25 days before Election Day. That means October 11th by 5 p.m.
Jordan Childs is taking the fight to reinstate her bronze medal to Switzerland's Supreme Court. Childs' attorney filed an appeal over the decision to strip her of the Olympic bronze medal to the Swiss court on Monday. Her attorneys argue that the Court of Arbitration for Sport violated procedural issues. Last month, the case upheld a challenge from the Romanian gymnastics team over scores that knocked Childs to 5th place and Romania's Ana Barbasu to 3rd. USA Gymnastics said it is not involved in the appeal, but it is working closely with Childs and her team. Well, after several students got sick following an evacuation from a bomb threat, Wake County school leaders are evaluating their response to threats, what they're doing today to improve how they handle similar situations.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey. Still seeing a little spotty showers out there. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner has our forecast, what we can expect later this afternoon.
You know, it's been interesting to see how this has changed this morning. We had a good bit of rain from the Triangle area northward, fairly widespread this morning, and now it's narrowed down to just this little band between Goldsboro, parts of Johnston County, Wake County, Durham County, and on up towards, say, Danville, Virginia. So in some places around the Triangle, you're still going to see increased crashes, some road spray, some ponding, and a little additional light rain this morning. Our rain chances definitely go down this afternoon, and a lot of that rain, the models show pushing on up into Virginia as the day wears on. But take a look at Apex, where it is a bit on the messy side right now. The roads are damp. We're looking at some drizzle. Our temperatures range from 65 in Southern Pines to almost 75 in Tarboro. School day forecast, right now it's on the wet side, but this afternoon we should be drying out with highs in the upper 70s, Ken.
All right, happening now in the WO Traffic Center. The rain might be easing, but we're still seeing some heavy congestion on our major roads this morning. US 1 coming in from Apex, as well as the northern and southern loop of the Beltline. Many of you use the I-540 as an alternate route. We're seeing a delay there, and of course US 1 as well. Let's take a look at some of those delayed times coming into the capital city this morning. You're looking at a 9-minute delay coming in from Apex, and of course the troubled spot is US 1 Capitol Boulevard. Our friends at Wake Forest, you're looking at a 14-minute delay coming in this morning.
All right, thanks, Ken. Today, Wake County school leaders will review the response to school threats after a recent evacuation on a hot day led to kids getting sick. It happened at Heritage High School in August. Officials evacuated the school because of a bomb threat. 3 kids went to the hospital for heat-related issues. We'll have more news, weather, and traffic over on Fox 50.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Still some rain out there, just in a narrow band. I'll show you how long it may be before that dissipates.
Plus, because of more than 18 inches of rain, people along the coast are working to clean up this. We have a look at the damage left behind as the water begins to recede.
And today we'll learn what's in the future for downtown Raleigh and relocating Red Hat Amphitheater. After people for and against the plan have weighed in, city leaders will now make a final decision. We have that and so much more to get your Tuesday started. Thanks for joining us. I'm Michelle McConaughey.
I'm Chris Lemongood. Yeah, it's Tuesday, not quite Friday, not quite Wednesday. It's okay. We're pushing through this week, though. Quieter start to the morning as we get to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Yeah, my wife was saying overnight she heard a lot of lightning or thunder, but I mean, I slept like a log.
I did too. I could see some of it flashing before I went to sleep, but usually it doesn't bother me too much. From Goldsboro up through Raleigh and off to the north and west, we have this narrow band of precipitation now. Things have really changed through the morning. We had some pretty widespread rain from, say, Sanford, Goldsboro northward this morning, and it's really just tapered off to this one little lingering boundary. So we're definitely seeing some showers from between Raleigh and Wake Forest. We're seeing some of that around Smithfield, just to the east of Clayton and Wilson's Mills, right through Durham Durham and on up to the north and west. Not falling very heavily. What's happening up to the north of that now is pretty quiet, but we may see that boundary lifting northward as we get through the afternoon. So it's wet and messy across a good bit of the Triangle area right now, especially there at RDU where that band of rain is sitting. We've seen about 2¼ inches of rainfall in Raleigh, just under 4 inches in Fayetteville, but we did have a pocket here in yellow where we saw some 5-inch rainfall total. So we've seen a good bit of rain. Futurecast showing again this rain lifting northward through lunchtime and then on into the afternoon. A little bit of sunshine breaking out late in the day from the Triangle area southward, but we may not see the end of this rain until sometime overnight tonight. And even then, there's some redevelopment possibility for tomorrow, which we're going to talk more about coming up. Just a 30% chance of rain during the afternoon, and our highs this afternoon will be in the upper 70s, Ken.
All right, we continue to follow that breaking news there in West Raleigh as a result of a tree down in the area. Wade Avenue remains closed between Dixie Trail and Faircloth Street. The power outages in that area. We'll have a live shot in just a minute or so coming up, but Hillsborough Street is definitely an alternate route for you this morning. Another trouble spot that's really beginning to clear up as a result of this crash on US 1 North. It was causing quite a backup. At one time, that backup was almost an hour long, but you can see it's getting ready really to lighten up a little bit, which is a good thing. Elsewhere around the Triangle and surrounding communities, we're seeing the congestion building between the northern loop and the southern loop of the Beltline. You're looking at some delay times that you might want to be mindful of. You're looking at 6 minutes on the I-40 eastbound, and really the trouble spot is US 1 coming in off of US 1 and Capitol Boulevard. We do have the WRAL storm tracker out on the roadways this morning. Laura Levine is at that live location there on Wade Avenue. Laura, I know you've been there for a while, and crews are trying to get that situation under control.
Actually, Ken, good morning. We're standing here at Wade and Dogwood, and behind me, you can actually see crews beginning to bring in a new power pole, and that's because overnight, a large tree fell on a power pole, causing it to break in half. They're still working to remove pieces of this tree, but you can see that they're bringing in a brand new power pole, so still working diligently to with the restoration efforts happening here. I've been able to speak with a few neighbors within this area. They tell me they've been without power since 4 o'clock this morning. Duke Energy tells them that they're not expecting power to be restored until 4 p.m. So a lot of people just hunkering down here at home, waiting for the lights to come back on within this area. I was able to speak with Brett Hartsfield this morning, who was just preparing to take his son to school. Take a listen. Tell me, how's your morning going?
It's eventful. It's been eventful. We knew there was a lot of rain coming, and typically we'll have down trees, but when Wade shuts down, it seems like the town, or this side of town, shuts down.
Has informed residents that they should have their... Yeah, so obviously a lot of people within this area, they also mentioned the traffic, right? Rush hour when all of this is happening. This is a busy road. So basically to see this road shut down has major implications. RPD sending out an alert about 15 minutes ago, also advising people to avoid this area. We'll keep you updated on how things are looking. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
And right now in the WRAL Live Center, I want to show you exactly what that live look at the power outages because of the tree down on Dixie Trail there, Wade Avenue, what that looks like on the Duke Energy power outage map. 27 customers right there. This is just off the Beltline between Dixie Trail right on Wade Avenue there. As we come back out and take a look at the big picture of Raleigh and the Triangle, the big story here is progress. That's what's happening. You have to go all the way out to Zebulon to find several hundred people near that Hopkins Trace area, the Country Club Acres, where those 620 outages are or so. Even when you head up towards Durham and Chapel Hill, there was an area right north of Pittsburgh there that had several hundred. That's just disappeared there. So now we have several hundred around the area here in the Triangle. But progress, the name of the game right now.
Yeah, that's good news. Thanks, Jeff. And fallen trees are a problem in the Triangle this morning. More than 100 homes in Cary were left without power overnight after a tree came down and took out electric lines. This happened on Greenwood Circle near Walnut Street. Officials from the town of Cary say this is one of at least 2 large trees that were brought down during the storm. And there are some school delays to tell you about this morning. Moore, Lee, Harnett, Hoke, Cumberland, Sampson, and Wayne County schools, they will all open 2 hours late today as a precaution.
A precaution for that storm, which is, by the way, being described as a historic event on the coast. That is where some areas felt the effect of more than 18 inches of rain. Actually, we have WRAL's Brett Neese there live on Carolina Beach this morning. And Brett, now comes the cleanup from the flooding, and I can see some of it's receding, but still there behind you.
Yeah, Chris, it's receding pretty quickly. You can see some of the floodwaters that cover Lake Park Boulevard. But just a couple of hours ago, this drain right here has been on overdrive. A couple of hours ago, that water was up past my shins here on Lake Park Boulevard. So it's impressive to see these drains really at work and getting this water off the road as quickly as they really can. 18 inches of rainfall is a lot of water. I want to show you down here, down this sidewalk, you can see some of the debris that is left behind from all of that floodwater that rose quickly yesterday, and all the rainfall, the wind, all of that causing so much damage to all of these homes, cars, businesses in this area. It's incredible to hear a number of stories from people about how this is comparable to hurricane-like storms. And here at Havana's restaurant, you're taking a live look at the patio, and just look at all this patio furniture that has been strewn about, completely washed over, and some of it broken, turned over, and just a lot of damage here at this restaurant. This is what businesses and houses are dealing with all up and down Carolina Beach. And we talked to some residents about what it was like to go through this once-in-a-generation rainfall.
We were trying to leave this morning, and it was raining so hard and flooding so fast that we couldn't get out of town. So we ended up turning back and coming back to the house here.
And some folks not being able to get back into their homes, some not being able to leave. As you can see down here on Lake Park Boulevard, they continue to have it closed off as this water continues to recede. This flooding causing issues for New Hanover County schools. They will be on remote learning today. Carolina Beach Elementary actually had to have a few kids taken home by emergency crews with a car that could actually handle this high flood water yesterday. So schools affected, homes affected, businesses affected here, all by this historic rainfall. Live in Carolina Beach, Brett Neese, WRAL News.
Schools and bridges as well affected because of the flooding. We're actually getting a closer look at damages done to bridges after flooding washed out roads. This is in Southport. The police department shared these photos around 1 o'clock this morning, and they showed the damage to bridges on NC 211. You'll just see it right there. Clearly the damage done actually sunk beneath the road because of how serious this was. That's one of the main roads to and from the city. The Brunswick County Sheriff's Office shared this photo. You see this? A vehicle fell into one of the gaps in the highway. More than 15 inches of rain fell in the Southport area in a 48-hour period. Think about that. Authorities are warning people to stay off the roads.
And the wet roads led to a lot of crashes in the Triangle. The driver of this box truck here escaped without injury after overturning on I-40. He was so lucky. This crash happened near the Rock Quarry Road exit yesterday evening. Raleigh police say the slick road conditions caused the truck to go off the highway and turn onto its side. And you can always find live weather updates on the free WRAL News app. It allows you to watch radar in real time to see when storms are in your area. Be sure you have the WRAL News app installed with alerts turned on. And covering Wake County school leaders today will review the response to school threats after an evacuation on a hot day in August led to kids getting sick. The response in question happened at Heritage High School August 29th. Officials evacuated the school in Wake Forest at 10:30 in the morning because of a bomb threat. Many students stood unprotected from the sun for about 90 minutes. 3 kids needed to go to the hospital because of heat-related issues, and 20 to 30 others were treated on scene. The school board will talk about the timeline of what happened and discuss ways to improve.
This morning, we'll learn more about the indictment against Sean Diddy Combs. He was arrested last night in New York City. Federal authorities took Combs into custody inside a Manhattan hotel. In a statement, authorities said they expect to move to unseal the indictment this morning. So it looks like we'll soon learn more about the charges he's facing. Earlier this year, Combs became the target of a months-long sex trafficking probe by Homeland Security. Since last November, he's faced 10 lawsuits.
Body cam video is giving a look at the moment law enforcement in Florida arrested a man accused of trying to assassinate former President Donald Trump.
Take 2 steps to your right. Driver, walk straight back.
The video shows deputies with guns drawn on Ryan Ruth. Ruth backs up toward them with his hands over his head. Deputies tracked Ruth down and arrested him shortly after the incident at Trump International Golf Club on Sunday. He's facing charges including possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Newly released video footage is shedding light in the death of Javion McGee. Why the family says the video does not change their mind about how he died.
Plus, a fire is still burning after a pipeline exploded in Texas. What authorities there say caused the explosion and how they're trying to contain it.
And you are taking a live look at Carolina Beach this morning. Much more calm this morning than yesterday. Just ahead, meteorologist Chris Michaels joins us to explain why some are calling this a 1,000-year flood along the coast.
All right, so we have a lot going on weather-wise, though things are calming down. Not as much as we had yesterday going on. We have meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner that is tracking that right now. It's looking like it's clearing up a bit, but still there, Elizabeth.
You know, things have changed a lot this morning from when we started on the air at 4:30. At 4:30 this morning, we had pretty widespread rain from the Triangle area northward. Now it's down to just this one little boundary. But you know what happens sometimes in these boundaries set up? That's what happened to us last Friday. And we're not going to see as much rain as that. But this stubborn little boundary may be with us for a bit. The models want to push that northward on up into Virginia, but it's not moved a whole lot in the last little while. So just north of Smithfield and just east of Wilson's Mills and Clayton, we're seeing some of that rain. At Wendell, north Raleigh up toward Durham, and north of Chapel Hill up towards, say, Hillsborough. We're seeing this little boundary. But again, models keep showing that moving to the north. What's happening around Roxborough, Oxford, Henderson, South Hills, really nothing. Things have really tapered off nicely. But take a look at how much rainfall we saw yesterday as the system was, really bringing the rain. It was about 5 inches in Dunn, about 3.5 in Cary, about 3 inches in Rayford, and officially at RDU it was about 2, maybe about 2.25 inches. Of course, the big story has been what happened down at Carolina Beach. There was one rain band with this that just pointed itself at Carolina Beach and just sat there with relentless rain with 18 inches. We'll take a look at look at the radar estimate. You see the brown shaded area? That's above 15 inches of rain, and it was just that one rain band. Really nobody else saw rain quite as heavy as that. So definitely an unusual situation. Meteorologist Chris Michaels is here with a look at how often we see something like this.
And thankfully, it's not often at all. In fact, the folks at the National Weather Service in Wilmington said with the 18.32 inches of rain at Carolina Beach, they called it a 1,000-year flood. So what does that mean? It means you stand a 1 in 1,000 or 0.1% chance of seeing rain like that on a given day in any year. It does not mean that you will never see rain like that again within the next 1,000 years. Hopefully you don't, right? But that's not exactly what that means. So definitely very rare kind of rain that we saw along the coast just yesterday. And in Raleigh, we saw more than an inch of rain for the 16th time this year. That's tied second most on record. So far, it's the third wettest year on record to date in Raleigh. And you can see how this has changed. This is the number of 1 inch rain days in Raleigh over the past 75, 50, 25, 10, and 5 years. And you see that's becoming a little bit more common over the past 5 to 10 years, especially as things warm up. You introduce more moisture into the atmosphere, and that's why we're seeing more frequent heavy rain events. But Elizabeth, thankfully, with that narrow band that's moving in, we're not getting 18 inches out of that.
Fortunately not. Yes, boy, what a system this has been, and we're still not completely done with it. The center of circulation is north of Columbia, but look at this. Right here, moving up along the Outer Banks is another rain band that is producing heavy rain. But the big difference here is this thing is moving. It's not sitting stationary in one spot, but a lot of lightning with that. Definitely some heavy rain. We'll continue to see rain pushing northward and dissipating as we get through the day today. At lunchtime, things really start to scatter out, and then into the afternoon, there's 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock. It really moves up north toward the Virginia line. We may even see a little bit of sunshine in our southern counties mid to late afternoon. We still have this system that's going to linger. It's going to continue to bring us a chance of some showers and thunderstorms, not just this afternoon, but Tuesday and Wednesday as well. So we could still add a little bit more rain to our totals. One nice thing is the wind has started to really die down. The gusts would be in that white box, and we're not seeing any gusts around the area as compared to yesterday where we had some 40 to 45 mile per hour gusts. It's messy here on the tarmac. You can see the standing water here at RDU. 73 is the temperature and our dew point 71. So definitely feels tropical. We'll see highs in the upper 70s with mostly cloudy skies this afternoon. Again, a little peak of sunshine is possible. 81 Wednesday, 80 Thursday, 82 Friday. Looking forward to the first day of fall on Sunday, not just because it's the first day of fall, but check that out, 76 degrees. And we're going to drop into the 50s overnight. We'll see a nice drop in our humidity, Ken.
Looking forward to that. And of course, we continue to monitor. Even though the rain is easing up just a bit, we continue to monitor the road conditions because it's still a little messy out there. Reporter Kelsey Coffey and photographer Mark Alexic have been monitoring some road conditions for us as well. Right now, they're on Creedmoor Road heading south back into the capital city. You can see still some light showers coming down. This is a 2-lane road, and you can see the windshield wipers going this morning. Of course, if you're getting ready to head out, it's still important to look for ponding on that roadway just to avoid any situations that you might run into in terms of hydroplaning. Right now, we want to continue to monitor the situation in West Raleigh. Wade Avenue remains closed between Dixie Trail and Faircloth Street. There's a big tree down. They've been working to cut up that tree. Also, power outages in that area. We're hearing from residents that it might be till 4 p.m. this afternoon before power is restored. Hillsborough Street is definitely an alternate route around there. Another area that was troubling this morning is beginning to clear up quite a bit is US 1 North. We're seeing a situation where it used to be like an hour's wait, but right now it's really dissipated a little bit. The Beltline, this is a situation that we're constantly seeing the congestion on the southern loop as well as the northern loop of the Beltline. With that in mind, let's give you a live look at what's happening elsewhere. We're seeing things really beginning to settle down in 87 southbound Bowie. Many of you use the I-540 as an alternate route. You can see there's a huge congestion there, maybe a 10 to 15 minute delay. And speaking of delays, you're looking at maybe a 12-minute delay coming in from Wake Forest this morning, but elsewhere, very little to no delays.
Thanks, Ken. New surveillance video and a high-profile death investigation in Vance County. This video here shows what appears to be Javion McGee buying blue rope at Walmart. McGee was later found dead at the base of a tree near Henderson with a rope around his neck. His family says they do not believe that he died by suicide. The Vance County Sheriff's Office released the surveillance video. It was taken the night before McGee's body was found. McGee was a truck driver from the Chicago area. His family believes he was murdered. They say the video showing McGee buying rope does not change their mind.
This is part of trucking equipment used for loads. The family still suspects foul play. The family also stated that they still want transparency, they want accountability, and they want justice.
A person who called 911 said it appeared that McGee hanged himself in a parking lot near where he had parked his truck. The sheriff says he is awaiting the results of an autopsy.
A natural gas pipeline in Texas ruptured from an SUV hitting it yesterday. Look at this. This caused a fire that's still burning this morning. You're looking at video showing the flames in Deer Park, Texas, which is about 25 minutes southeast of Houston. Investigators say the fire is slowly burning itself out, but it's already damaged homes in the area, and that has led to people evacuating.
A Fort Liberty paratrooper was killed during a training exercise. The 82nd Airborne Division announced the death of Private First Class Matthew Perez last night. He was assigned to the division's 3rd Brigade Combat Team. Perez died during training at the Joint Readiness Training Center in Louisiana on Friday. The incident is under investigation.
High winds and rain from the storm caused a tree to fall on a home in Fayetteville. This is on Broadfoot Avenue in the Haymont community. The homeowner said that she has a lot of repair work to do.
The tree fell on the house, and I've got some damage inside the house. Part of the roof is gone, and it's fallen all the way onto the front porch. And yeah, so here we are.
And I know this looks very bad, but here's the deal. No one injured.
So lucky. Well, it is not even October yet, but retailers are already thinking about the holiday shopping rush. Target will start taking applications for seasonal jobs next week. The company says it's hiring 100,000 seasonal workers this holiday season. You can submit an application starting next Wednesday, September 25th. And before we go to break, here are your winning lottery numbers. We'll get another check on weather and traffic next.